Hey, welcome back to the Nemesis podcast. This is Brian.
This is Daryl.
This is take two. So I started the intro and then realized, 3 or 5 to whatever how many seconds into it, I was not recording. So yeah, here we are, actually recording, I think. We are. I see the lines.
Very lucky it wasn't like 30 or 40 minutes in.
Yeah.
Then...
Yeah. You know, the way my day's been going, like, that wouldn't have surprised me. So, anyway.
Has that ever happened before? Like, where something happened and didn't record for an extended amount of time?
I'm sure it's happened to somebody else. I haven't done it for more than like a minute. So, but now that you say that, I got to knock on wood and say that I hope it doesn't happen. So, yeah. All right. This week we have WandaVision episode 5 on a very special episode. I love that that's the title. And we're just going to give the highlights. And if you want to hear our full thoughts, go check out our Patreon because we're doing these really fun commentaries. We've gotten some good feedback on them about the show. And yeah, it's been fun. This was I call this an interesting episode. And so we'll get to that. We have season 5, episode 10, Nemesis Games, the last episode of season 5 of The Expanse. So God knows when that's coming back. I definitely have thoughts, and I don't know about you, but I kind of wanted to talk about like the season as a whole as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we don't do commentaries for that on Patreon, but you can check us out on YouTube to see when we just put like the clips up if you want to re-listen or share with your friends or whatever. And then we have news bites about the Wakanda TV series, Cobra Kai, and the fan relationship to the LaRussos, which I found fascinating. Some Obi-Wan filming updates and a Hollywood Awards show. So let's jump right into the Wakanda TV series in the works at Disney Plus with Black Panther director Ryan Coogler. So I have a question. Who do you think has done the best job with T'Challa as a director thus far?
You're talking about between Coogler and the Russos?
Yes, sir.
I'd have to say the Russos.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And again, this is coming from someone who is not as passionately meh about Black Panther as you are. I thought it was okay. But I'm taking away some of the CG issues that we had because the CG for the most part was terrible. But you know, I found it intriguing, and this is the other thing, kind of going back to the Russos. It would not have been nearly as effective for me if the Russos did not make T'Challa what they made him in Civil War.
Right.
Like his
right.
Honestly, he had a better character arc to me in Civil War, even though he wasn't the main character, than he did in Black Panther.
Well, he had a more understandable, not just character arc, but he had a more understandable, like, the whole, like, motivation for what was happening there. You know, he may very well go down as, like, the worst king in the history of Wakanda. So,
yeah. And
I mean,
again, this is coming.
He had everybody turn on, even his best friend turned on him for some dude who claimed to be from Wakanda.
Yeah.
Which, you know, who knows, but yeah.
But I would put Coogler in the crosshairs of that decision, because if it takes all that small of a thing for your best friend to turn on you because he got the people that killed his parents, that's not enough substance for a turn.
Yeah.
But like, going back to Coogler, we know Coogler. I mean, again, you talk about Creed, how much you love Creed.
Oh yeah,
like the Creed
movies.
Great.
He didn't direct the second
Fruitvale.
one, but he directed the first one.
Yeah, I didn't know he did. I thought he directed the second one.
No, he did not. He produced it. But Fruitvale Station is fantastic.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he has a man crush on Michael B. Jordan, as everyone should.
Yes.
You know, he's a unit right there. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. So there's not a lot of detail regarding the Kingdom of Wakanda series. but they're doubling down on the fact that they're not going to recast Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa. And I think that's a mistake.
Yeah, look, there are ways around this, but I understand why they want to respect it. But I would think, to me, respecting what Boseman did would be to bring someone on to carry on the legacy.
Right. And, you know,
T'Challa.
when you say there's ways around it, I mean, it's very obviously John David Washington. I think he would step in and be amazing.
Oh yeah, when I said ways, I didn't mean about I didn't mean about recasting. Which, again, you are really on this JDW train. Which again, I really like him too. Yes.
Hey, I called Donald Glover as Lando years before they cast him as Lando. So I figure maybe they're listening again and they're like, you know what? He said it enough now that's a good idea. Let's see if JDW wants to talk about this. We'll forget about, well, you know, he was the best part of Ballers. I'm not gonna lie. But like,
yes.
You know, anyway.
And look, he did good. He did good in his action shots in Tenet as well. So
he was the only part about Tenet I really liked.
Yeah. So
plus, he didn't have a name. He was just called the protagonist, which I love that. So
I thought that was pretty cool.
And he named himself. You realize that, right? When he said, "I'm the protagonist," it's like, sweet. That's your name, dude. That's who you is. But yeah. So I don't know. I just don't think Letitia, is that how you say it? Letitia Wright?
Letitia Wright.
Letitia Wright. Sorry. I don't think that she can carry not just the mantle of Black Panther, but the franchise of Black Panther.
Yes. No, she can't. I will say she cannot.
She's great in small doses.
Yeah, and I was about to say that's not
a knock.
Yeah, because again, this goes back. I'll go to sports. Just because you're a great coordinator in football does not mean you can be a great head coach. Mm-hmm. And we've seen this over and over and over again. That's not a knock on your skills as a coordinator. Just like everyone can't, like you said, can't be the tentpole actor or can't be that main actor and you know carry a movie. Some people are just better in supporting roles.
Right.
I mean, I love her character. I love her as Shuri, and I don't want her to change to become, you know, the Black Panther and become Queen of Wakanda or what have you.
Right.
I want her in her role because she's so good at, and I think it would take away from the franchise for her to become the Black Panther.
Correct. And I don't want her to just like marry some dude and he becomes Black Panther either. I think that's dumb.
No.
Maybe they do like T'Challa went to like the mainland and had a baby or something, and some 15-year-old kid shows up to be Black Panther. You know, that seems pretty stereotypical, but okay.
Yeah.
You know, sure. Good on you. Or they just do the right thing and recast him.
With who?
I mean, it could be Sticky Fingers. You know, it could be Kofi Kingston.
Please no. I remember him in Blade.
Oh, dude, that's Blade why. Yeah, he ruined that Blade TV show.
Oh my god. Oh, jeez.
You know, I don't know. I mean, you could go get what's his name, Sterling K. Brown. Oh wait, no, he was already in it. He played one of the. Yeah. Never mind. He couldn't. He was already in Black Panther 1. I forgot about that.
Just say what you're thinking. Just say the name you want to say again.
I mean, it's John David Washington. I mean, that's the only answer. So,
is that your final answer?
Dude, it's the only answer. There's no. This isn't a multiple choice question. John David Washington should be the new Black Panther, and you know, anyway, I think it's cool that if they're gonna do a Wakanda show, maybe it doesn't have Black Panther at all.
Yeah, and again, Wakanda. One of the other things I was, as we were taking the IGN survey of what you liked about Black Panther.
Yeah, I was really upset that there was nothing. Like nothing was not an option.
One of the things I kind of compare it to Avatar. The story of Avatar. Yeah. Oh well, no. James Cameron's Avatar. Let's get that straight.
Yeah, the
subpar
Avatar.
Yeah, we already know who the real Avatar is.
Yeah, Korra.
James can't. I haven't gotten to that yet, but
she's the Avatar. You had to deal with it.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I like Aang better, even though I haven't seen her yet. So, but in Avatar, in James Cameron's Avatar, the story was meh.
Mm-hmm.
The CG was great,
mm-hmm.
but was more important this world that he built. Even though we didn't get it enough to see. I love the world he created and that symbiotic relationship. I love the snippets of the world that Coogler and company created in Black Panther.
Sure.
And I would be down for seeing more of that without having the Black Panther part of it.
Yeah, I mean, like the world that James Wan created in Underwater Aquaman, or Underwater Black Panther was, I mean, it's the same thing. Except for his best friend didn't show up and then lead a nationwide revolt against him.
Yes.
So, I don't know. So we'll see. Maybe what they do is they go get the guy that played T'Challa's dad. And it's like, or maybe what they do is they cast someone who will be, or they get the guy that played T'Challa's dad at the first scene in the movies in Oakland. And it's him being Black Panther.
Oh, so you're like a retro series?
Yeah, why not? You could have the awesome collar. I mean, let's just go with it.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is one of those things where there's so many options, and I just would say don't pigeonhole themselves into making it be about the Black Panther. No, we don't need that.
What if they deep fake an actor like they did to Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian?
The technology is there.
I mean, they're not technically recasting, and
Yeah, that kind of creeps me out. Like, even
I think
though
if you're dead, they should not like do a whole series with you.
Yeah, like Rogue One with Peter, what's his name, who played Grand Moff Tarkin?
Oh, Peter Cushing.
Yeah, I got that. Even though it creeped me out, just because, like, okay, this dude's dead, and he's acting in this movie. But there was actually a movie about that too. I can't remember what actress was in it, but she signed over her likeness, and they ended up doing that using like deep fake type technology to basically perpetuate her as an actress, despite her not actually being the one acting. Oh, yeah,
with Al Pacino. I think it was. Yeah, I think that was Simone. No, Simone was just made up. Simone didn't exist. I don't know. Anyway, all right, let's move on. So we have this Cobra Kai story that came out on Bleeding Cool this week, which I found interesting because it's all about Mary Mouser being surprised at fans' reactions to the LaRussos. And it makes me wonder how self-aware she is.
Well, I mean, she is Daniel's kid. No, but
well, I mean, so she's I can't tell. I don't know if she's upset or if she thinks this funny. I think she's upset because she keeps calling people haters. But she's upset that people see the LaRussos as the bullies and that they're getting a mixed reaction. And especially like when there's saying that there's a clear villain in Martin Cove's John Kreese. But here's the thing. In the first season, she's the bad guy.
Well, like
amongst the high school kids.
Yeah. And again, people assume the bad person is the one, like they say with the villain, the mustache twirling villain.
Right.
No, that's not the bad guy. The bad guy is the one that pushes the other characters, or in her case, basically with, and this is what you said with Tori. She first time she meets Tori, she accuses her of stealing her mom's wallet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, really?
Yeah, when it was her boys' friends who did it.
Yeah,
who she cheated on her boyfriend with.
Yeah, and then in the skating rink, Tori bumps into her. Yes, it was done purposely.
Yeah.
So what you do is you kick her legs out from under her.
Right. No, you don't. But that's what she did. Like her first instinct is always violence. Like in season 2, when they're in the arcade and the Cobra Kais are there running wild. What does she do? She leads the attack on them. And then when Tori shows up to, settle the score, she runs and hides and lets Dimitri's arm get broken.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And I was about to say, if you all do not hear, we're not big fans of her character.
Yeah.
And we're just, I don't like how she's written, and I don't remember seeing Mary Mouser in anything else. So I
have no opinion of Mary Mouser.
Yeah.
I think
just don't like the character at all.
She does as good as she can with what they've written as Sam LaRusso. But Samantha Sam LaRusso is like on par with Adrienne Balbella. Like just this annoying wet blanket character. She's, she's there to ruin everything for everybody.
Yeah.
So
but to your point, it's just funny that she can't step away and see why people don't like the LaRussos.
Right. Like, and so what she does to Miguel in season 1 with Robbie, and then what she turns around and does to Robbie with Miguel in season 2. And
and even Daniel says is like, Sam, what are you doing?
Yeah. Sam,
like early on.
Sam needs to take a year. No boys. Just get to know herself. Maybe do some Miyagi Do kata. Maybe he should send her to Okinawa to train with Chosen. It's just, I don't know, it's just really funny. It says here, like, the energy it takes me not to go online and respond. But what about all the other people? What about everyone else who made a bad decision? It's not just me. It's like, it's not you, Mary. You're not the problem. It's the fact that your character is legitimately, one of the bad guys of the show.
It's just unlikable. And and again, we know that Kreese is the villain, but at least Kreese is interesting.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they made Kreese really sympathetic this last season up until the last episode. But yeah. I don't know. It was I just found I found the article. I thought it was interesting. I wanted to talk about it. We didn't talk enough about Cobra Kai because Netflix just dumped it all at once.
Yeah, I don't think you can ever talk enough about Cobra Kai.
No, you can't. So, I told you I was going to cancel Netflix.
Yeah.
I still haven't because I'm like, I might want to watch Cobra Kai again this week.
I'm thinking about starting it from the beginning again. After I finish probably Last Viking or The Last Kingdom, I'm going to go back and just watch it from the start again.
Nice. All right. So moving on yet again, we have Obi-Wan Filming news. So I was telling you, allegedly, yeah, allegedly we're getting Obi-Wan Kenobi. So this is from, what is the website? Where'd it go? Star Wars News Net, which is like a legit Star Wars news site. But it was all over the place. Ewan McGregor confirms Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi will start filming late spring in Los Angeles. So when they confirmed they were going to start filming the show? At D23 in 2019.
That's been a long time now.
So, so he was on Eddie Izzard's show or whatever, stream, where Eddie Izzard was doing some kind of thing on a treadmill, like he was doing like 48 hours of running or something weird like that. And so they were just chatting, and Ewan said, "Hey, this is what's going on." So, I think Ewan would know when things are going to start shooting, but you never know. But yeah, and we got that catchphrase that we keep hearing about this that makes me really nervous about this show, about Hayden will be back in the role of Darth Vader, bringing us the rematch of the century. And it's like I told you, these are people who know nothing about Star Wars who are saying this.
Yeah. Kathleen Kennedy and some of the cohorts at Lucasfilm should take Xander's from Buffy when he said, "Sometimes I just shouldn't say words." They should do that.
Maybe.
Because the things that come out of their mouths, and the rematch of the century, that's offensive in the sense of Star Wars canon and all that stuff, but there's a lot worse that comes out of them.
Yeah,
now
absolutely.
The thing about this, and we were talking about before we started recording, is that supposedly the Mandalorian is supposed to be was set to be filmed, or that's what it came to the grapevine, that the Mandalorian was going to be filming after Boba Fett finished, and it was going to be in the spring, and it was going to be in LA.
Right.
So now that this is supposed, like McGregor confirms this is going to be filmed in LA in the late spring. Something's being shifted here. Whether we end up getting news that Obi-Wan gets moved, or maybe quite possibly the Mandalorian gets pushed back, who knows? But that's what I'm not concerned, but that's what I'm interested in, to see what this filming schedule is going to look like, like with Obi-Wan versus the Mandalorian, like which one of these are going to get pushed back.
So they've put the there's more than one volume now, right? They have a bunch of them. I think they have 4 is what they said. So maybe they're just going to do, maybe Obi-Wan's not going to be shot on the volume. It's going to be shot somewhere else, in and around LA, out in like the desert or something, since I doubt they're going to go to Tanzania or Tunisia. So yeah, I don't know. I'll be honest. I'd rather have the Mandalorian, than them ruining the trilogy.
I'd rather have the Mandalorian too. I just
so
would. I mean, obviously when this series Obi-Wan comes out, I'm absolutely watching it. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah,
if they said tomorrow, oh yeah, we're not going ahead with the Obi-Wan series, I just give a shrug of the shoulders, like, okay, whatever. If they said that for the Mandalorian, you would get a much different reaction from me.
Right.
So
yeah, I would say, yeah, that sucks. I was really interested to see what Deborah Chow was going to do with this, because I liked her episode of season 1 on the Mandalorian, and I love Ewan McGregor, and I love Obi-Wan, but all right. I mean, they just don't seem to have their ducks in a row.
And didn't they have to rewrite all the scripts?
So that's a rumor. That was a rumor. I don't know if that was true.
Yeah. Again, that's the thing you have to watch out for, because I've heard it from several different sources. But again, if they're taking it from the same source, and everything gets around the world, and then you think of it as fact when it's not necessarily fact.
Well, I mean, here's the other thing to think about: is we love Star Wars rumors. I mean, I know I love them. I love when they're decanonizing the sequel trilogy. Dave Filoni already set this up in Rebels season 2. Okay, if you say so. As much as I would love to see them do that, they're not going to let a franchise that made $4 billion just be retconned out of existence, unless they think they can redo them and make
$12 billion. Yeah,
8 or 9. So I don't know what to think about all of this. I just know that more often than not, under Kathleen Kennedy's leadership, and the particular story group that they have, the idea of Star Wars is closer to stealing from Star Trek, World of Warcraft, Babylon 5, Battlestar Galactica, things like that, than it is to being Star Wars.
Yeah.
And again, it's because these people don't know anything about Star Wars. It's like the High Republic thing that came out today, where there's a Togruta character who purified a bled Kyber to have a white lightsaber. Ahsoka. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened in Ahsoka's book. And they have people like Pablo Hidalgo, who claims to be a part of the Star Wars story group and to be like the canon czar, heavily involved in the High Republic. And we saw all those like alleged, I'm gonna just use the word alleged, photographs of their writers' room where the very top thing was diversity and the third thing was story.
I don't care what it is. Like when you're telling story should always be number one. If you're telling something as expansive as Star Wars, I'll say, because if you're doing a San Andreas or like a kaiju movie, okay, it's
Right.
about the action, not the story. But when you're telling
the action
something
is the story.
Yes, well, that's true. Yeah, story should always come first. Period. End of.
But
end of story.
here's the thing with Star Wars, is it's not just the story you're currently telling that you need to worry about. It's the beloved canon that you can't screw up.
Yes.
Rogue One did a great job of adding to canon.
Yes.
Solo did a great job of making us go, is this fucking canon? So, come on, he was named by the Empire.
That was such an eye rolling scene.
It was cringe.
That was so eye rolling.
Who are your people? I don't know. Okay, you're a Solo.
Oh God. Yeah, I was just watching that a little bit of that the other day.
Here's the thing,
or not the other day, but a couple weeks ago, and I saw that scene.
All in all, Solo is actually a very fun movie, so it's just not good.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, so I don't know what's happening with Obi-Wan. It may happen. It may not. I think we have to just wait and see. I think if this is the problem with the pandemic, is they're pushing things back and back and back, and it's just release the shit, get it out there. So
yes.
All right, let's move on to our last news bite of the episode. A little thing called the SAG Awards.
What do we think about the SAG Awards?
Yep. All right. So talking about WandaVision.
Yes.
So no, seriously, like the SAG Awards came out. There's a bunch of nominations. I put a link in the show notes if you actually care about that. We don't. And I just wanted everyone to know that we don't. Anyway, okay, so WandaVision. This was a very interesting episode.
Yes.
This definitely made up for last week's episode in my eyes. I know you liked last week's episode.
I like this week's a lot more.
This was a very, very good, not just world building episode, but moving the things forward. And then I knew who showed up at the end was showing up, and I actually got spoiled that it was in this episode before the episode came out. And we're not going to spoil that. Again, you can join us on Patreon, get the commentary where we talk really in depth. But yeah, I will say I liked Monica Rambeau better in this episode.
Yes. And the other thing I liked is I liked the split between the WandaVision and the real world.
Yes.
I like how they went back and I'm hoping they do that for the remainder of, I think we have four more episodes.
I think they have to.
Because look, as much as I love the first few episodes because of that, nostalgia factor, I did want more of the plot, and we're getting that. Last week we got some of it, even if it was like ham, shoved into your mouth. But also they did a much better job of, telling and showing instead of the whole telling thing.
Right.
Which I appreciated as well. I think she was much better as Monica Rambeau in this episode than last episode. And I don't know if that was, I don't know if part of that was the fact that she was the lead in last episode. And again, I'm assuming these were filmed filmed in order
Right.
because
Maybe.
that would
Yeah, who
change
knows?
things. So I don't know if it was was it the same director or different director?
It's always the same director, Matt Shackman.
Okay, so he's direct.
And it was written by Peter Cameron and Mackenzie Dorr.
So it might have been her just feeling more comfortable in the role.
Maybe,
Who
yeah.
knows? But
So.
I just thought Teyonah Parris was better this
Yes.
episode than she was.
I agree.
last
I
week.
think part of it too is Kat Denning is a really good actress.
Yes.
She's very funny. She brings a lot out of other actors, and the same with Randall Park, who is
Agent Wu.
is Agent Wu, but is also a treasure. And if you haven't ever seen Fresh Off the Boat, where he plays the dad, you should definitely go watch it. And if you're a fan of The Office, he's the one.
Yeah, he's Jim Halpert.
He's Jim Halpert.
Yeah.
So he's Asian Jim Halpert, which was
I love that
the
episode.
best prank. That was the absolute greatest prank that they pulled in the entire series. So I liked that we got more Agnes. We got a lot of Agnes, a lot of really different kinds of Agnes. That I don't want to go too far into.
I can't wait to talk about that. Yeah.
So we got that. We got Vision doing stuff. And questioning things.
And Paul Bettany absolutely showing different levels of his acting chops too.
Oh, he's amazing. He's just
because he's always been a stoic because Vision's a synthoid android, whatever you want to call it. He's always had this stoic nature, and we've seen some of it bits more on the happy side during the season, but we get more of the the negative emotions or the panic in this episode. And I thought the scene I'm talking about was it's just brilliantly acted,
and we got a very clear answer to where this is in the timeline, and we got a bunch of other questions to ask too, which was great, about who's doing what, who's in control, things like that. And then there was a great just surprise at the end. I saw someone said it was like a Baby Yoda-esque surprise. I'm like, I would never go that far.
Nah.
But I have a question. Did you like Family Ties?
Yeah, that's another one of those shows I used to watch all the time.
So I loved Family Ties. Loved Family Ties for two reasons. One, at that time, when we were little kids, I was probably the same height as Michael J. Fox. So there was that. But I loved Alex P. Keaton. And two, they were in Ohio.
Yeah.
So growing up, living in Ohio at the time, it's like, hey, we could be neighbors. He could be my best friend. So, Justine Bateman could be my girlfriend. No, didn't have a chance there. Never ever would have a chance. But yeah. So it was just really, really good, and the way they went in and out of reality and WandaVision, and the way the one scene when they with the result of the drone that they sent in was really cool. And yeah, I thought that the kids aging up was really, really neat, and just like, I just gotta say, R.I.P. Sparky.
I know, that was pretty heavy.
Rest in power, little guy.
But it was titled on a very special episode, and usually they have those, like back then when they would say on a very special episode of Family Ties, there was always something super serious that happened.
Right.
So
correct.
that was absolutely perfect for. But yeah, to your point, there were a lot. Like, I have more questions, and watching. Well, I didn't watch it again, but I was watching somebody's reaction to it, and there was a scene that I didn't even think about, and we'll talk about more later, where I thought something that I didn't think about before, where it was like, that's a good observation. Yeah. I wonder what's going on.
I am going to say this is the exact reason I do not want J.J. Abrams, Damon Lindelof, or Carlton Cuse to go anywhere near Marvel.
No.
So gentlemen, when you have a show that is vaguely giving answers for the first few episodes, and then the studio forces you to spoon feed everybody in the 5th episode, and you come back, you don't continue asking weird questions without answering other things at the same time. You keep me on the hook, but you still feed me.
Yes.
Maybe not as much as the episode before, where they backed the truck up and shot the milk hose out of it, Kurt Angle style, at me. But yes, please, more of this. This episode right here is the general format that I want to see until they decide to be fully in the real world.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, this was that perfect blend.
And just to say, so hey, whoever at Screen Rant is listening right now, you are welcome for us giving you the idea of putting Agent Woo and Darcy together in an X-Files style show.
Yes.
Because our episode came out before you wrote that. I'm kidding. We were not the only people that thought of that, but I just thought it was really funny to see.
Yeah, I went one of my old coworkers I went to lunch with, and I said, that is the show that I didn't realize I wanted until it was said.
Until I told you.
Please, let's do a Darcy Woo show.
Yeah. So I think the moral of that story is, Daryl, you don't know what you want until I tell you want it.
No.
Let's see. There's the Woo and Darcy hour. There's Pops. There's Star Wars Black Series figures. There's comics to games. I see a trend.
Comics. What was that last part?
Comics to games.
Oh.
Mike's store right by your house.
Yes.
So anyway.
Well.
And soon to be adding Kokomo toys to that list. So. Anywho. But no, this was a really good episode. I will say, I thought this episode just looked great. It was filmed amazingly. Especially in the scene, and this was in the trailer, so I feel like we can talk about it a little bit here, is when Agnes is like, do we need to go back to 1? When Vision asks the wrong question. And I thought the way that it went from like sitcom style to sitcom or multi-camera style to like documentary style almost.
Yeah.
And it was just really, really cool.
Yeah, I really did like that back and forth, and how they set up some of the shots, and you get the black and white in a certain scene, and then you get the red overlay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
it was just
Norm. Yes. Norm was priceless in this episode.
Yeah, this was just a great episode. And again, it wasn't just for a one-off, but the way that it answered some questions, and it still left you with more questions to be answered.
And I missed Sherbert this week.
Oh,
poor Sherb.
Sherbert at. Dottie wasn't in there either.
No, there was no Dottie. So yeah, it was just really good. Okay, so if you want to hear us talk more about this, well, real quick, rating, let's say out of 5 Sparkies in a blanket. I'm gonna go 4. I think I'm just gonna go 4.
Okay, so I got this one as a 4 or 5.
Okay.
4.5.
Yeah. So I could be tempted to go up to 4.5 because of when they squared off in the living room. Was really cool, but I'm gonna stick with 4. 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
4 out of 5 Sparkies in a blanket.
Sparkies. That's rough.
Is it rough or is it funny?
Dude, that's not funny.
It's dark humor.
Just like your whole Black Widow motif that you've been doing. That's not funny.
No, that's hilarious because I have 2 of you to do it too.
You're a monster.
Eat me. Shrek. Or was that Shrek 2? That was Shrek 2, wasn't it?
No, that was Shrek.
Was it the first
Because that
one?
was when he cut. Yeah, that's when he cut off the gingerbread. It's like he was running with his little,
Yeah.
his gingerbread legs.
You'll talk. I will not.
Not the buttons. Oh my gosh.
All right. So, yeah, moving on to our final topic, The Expanse, Season 5, Episode 10.
Nemesis Games.
Nemesis Games. I should do like a figure out how to do a voice modulator there and be like Nemesis Games.
I will say this. The first 10 minutes of this episode, like when everything was getting set up. This was probably for me the best intro of an episode for this season.
Mm-hmm.
And again, part of it's because of what led up to it. Everything we knew was on the line. We see Holden and them preparing for war. We know, we know Naomi's in bad shape, obviously.
Right.
And just that preparation for, and then Drummer and her crew, the tension between her and Oksana and all them, everything, and just did such a great job setting things up
right
for what was going to happen.
Well, I think it was summed up in one line of dialogue, actually. Captain now, Kamina later.
That is, yes, I love that one. Like I just, again, I just rewatched it before we started filming, and I said, oh, dude, that's one of my favorite lines right there.
Yeah.
And again, once again, I saw a shirt with her saying that on it.
I'm sure.
With her face.
Yeah.
Captain now at the top, and then at the bottom, Kamina later.
And it just says like Belta Loda behind everything.
Yeah.
Or no, it says Sasuke.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so I saw one I didn't watch a reaction video, but I saw some reaction articles, I guess, not really reviews necessarily. And I did see one where it called this like the greatest space battle in the history of television. And no, I don't think The Expanse has come close to Battlestar Galactica in surpassing it for like the space battles. I actually don't think it's surpassed Space Above and Beyond in the space battles just yet. They're amazing. There's no doubt about it. And for those to be the top 3 shows for space battles on TV, that is rarefied air. Star Trek and Star Wars wishes they were that good.
Yeah, one thing I like about these space battles here is, again, they rarely put this, multiple ships on, unless you're doing a drive-by, but usually the ships are on screen one at a time because they're so far apart, which makes sense. Because again, one of the things Holden says is that, we have a railgun, but we're going to be shot up with missiles before we can get into effective range.
Right.
And that's one of the things that, and again, much of what BSG did was because they were single fighters.
Right.
They were fighters, so you could show multiple ones. Even with the good guys and then the Cylons, drones or whatever.
Wait, you mean the good guys and then the Colonials?
Anyway, yeah. Although, to be honest, the Colonials did do them dirty. So
yeah, I mean the slaves rose up.
So they were basically that's what it was. So I now that I think about it, I can't really
goddamn Eric Stoltz
that point.
Just started it all.
Yep. So yeah, I wouldn't say it's the greatest ever, but
no, I thought it was great.
It was a lot of fun.
It was great. Yeah. It was I actually thought the battle near the end was a little better. And I guess you wouldn't even call that a battle. That it was more of an ambush. But I thought they used the whole idea of space much better. And we will get to that. It was nice to see Holden being that strategic mastermind that he is, that we've been missing this season. And I'll get to the part of the story that they left out later. Because they made a big leap with something that happened at the end of this episode. Well, they made a big leap with the what is the ship called? Do you remember? It started with the B.
The Barkeith.
The Barkeith, thank you. With the Barkeith essentially disintegrating, like that wasn't that should not have happened in this episode.
Yeah,
So, but sorry.
I'm still kind of like mulling that over, and a lot of what, like, because in a way I agree. Also, again, it just depends on how they frame season 6, which again I mentioned this last week. I'm kind of concerned about.
So Holden spent too much time spinning his wheels on Tycho and not enough time doing the stuff that he was doing in Nemesis game to make what happened to the Barkeith actually hold water. And when that happens, and we as the audience know more than the characters, that's a really fun place to be.
Right.
But I'll say this. The whole thing with the Rossi at the beginning there, I think they're gonna really, because Kaz Anvar isn't gonna be part of the show moving forward. Spoilers, because they killed Alex off the way they did, and they did not introduce the Belter pilot from the books. I think we're stuck with Bull, and I don't like that. I don't like the energy he brings. And I felt like for a minute there, they were trying to make us think he was part of Anaros, the Free Navy. I don't know if you caught on to that at all, where it's like, oh, wait, he's going to, when he said there's always, when Marco, I think he said there's always a knife or something.
You must always have a knife in the dark, which is, again, that's another great line.
And I thought that was maybe Bull, because Bull was like doing something in the pilot chair, like kind of wonky. But what I really liked about this is when they're like, well, we have, just a few missiles left. We have so many, PDC rounds, and we are running low on fuel. And they're like, and we have a half a pack of smokes. It's dark and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it. Like, I thought that was a great heroic moment for Holden to say. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, keep going. Oh, for Holden to say.
For Holden to say, look, I know this is an unwinnable situation, but we're gonna do what we can. And I did not like the fact that he used the word friends and not family. But I feel like if he would have said family, I would have been wondering where his silver cross was and his charger. But when he said, we're going to give my family or my friends the ability to survive, and Bull's like, I really hate getting blown up before we even get a chance to fight. And he looks at me and goes, why can't we do both?
Yes. Like, that is the Holden. Yeah, that is absolutely the Holden that we've been following for the last 5 years,
right? And if Steve Strait can win for like best guest star in a season, any kind of award that like best guest star in a season, Steve
best
Strait.
Guest star. So yeah, this was very Holden heavy, Holden centric. Well, not Holden centric actually, but he was like one of the main parts of this. Unlike much of this season, sadly.
So, Holden is my favorite character. I joke that it's Amos, but Holden is my favorite character. He's my favorite character in the books as well, partly because most of it is from his point of view. And I enjoyed seeing other parts of the world from the other point of views this season. But without Holden's POV and without Holden being... So in the books, I'm gonna just spoil something. So in the books, there's ships that are disappearing. It's like 1 in 6, or no, it's not even like that. It's like 1 in 20 ships goes missing, as they pass through ring gates, and they're trying to figure it out. And it becomes very important in Abaddon's Gate. Is that how you say it?
Yes.
The next book, which will be the next season. And it is something that they should have let Holden set up for that, because then when the Barkeith disintegrated, then that's where we learn, like, oh, this is the ring gates are taking the ships, but we don't know why yet, and we're not going to know why for quite a while.
Right.
So, yeah, that was like, that's just like, oh, we were so close to getting this whole other like non-political monster, not political monster. Let me rephrase that. Righteous indignation Holden, and we were gonna get like Sherlock Holmes Holden.
Right. Sherlock Holden.
And I feel like it was a huge missed opportunity, and that came from the fact that we spent so much time with the Anaros family.
Yes. And again, one of the things you talked about when we were going about the Cobra Kai thing is how they made Kreese a little bit almost too sympathetic. And some of the stuff they did with the whole Marco thing, it worked in the same way, when there are times where less is more. And as much as we love Keon Alexander, if we would have gotten less of him and less of his point of view, I think it would have solidified him better as this menacing villain, as well as allowed us to get more time with some of the things we're talking about now. Because was there ever mention of ships disappearing this season?
Not at all. That's the
I
problem.
didn't think so.
That's why it was a very unearned moment, and I know it was meant as a what cliffhanger, right. But it would have had even more resonance if we knew ships were disappearing. And I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss any kind of like a throwaway line of dialogue where someone says something along those lines. So yeah, because I mean, Monica is so focused on the it's not the Nimen. What's the name of the ship that they're after? With the proto-molecule. She's so focused on that she figures that, Zemaya, thank you. She figures that out and, solves that case. But at the same time, it's like, okay, but where was this other thing? Because the reason Holden was able to figure it out is because he got left on Tycho all by himself and he was bored.
Right.
And, he was doing the typical James Holden thing and just pressing buttons.
Still want to again. That's a top 10 line for this season.
This is really
that how you really go through?
What'd you do? I saw a button.
I saw a button. I pressed it. That's like a 5-year-old,
right? So we got as much Alex and Bobby this season as we've gotten in one episode, and that ended horrifically. It was. It was Alex till the end, right? He was Alex. I mean, he was that brave idiot that Naomi called him. I hated that he died by himself on the Screaming Firehawk. I hated it.
Yeah.
And like, so the subheading for this week's episode, if you're going alone in the Screaming Firehawk sucks.
Yeah.
We never got to see all 4 of them together at any point this season.
Yeah. And look, I understand shit like this happens in life where you don't get to say goodbye. However, we're talking about, a story being created, being crafted.
Mm-hmm.
They deserve to be together one last time.
I think because the fans deserved it.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
And
because we did not get one scene with them together all season long.
Right.
Because when it started, he was on Mars and Amos was on Earth, and it was just Holden and Naomi.
Mm-hmm.
So I did not like it. I'm a little bit more this might be one of those things where it was good that we weren't doing a live reaction, because my reaction to that when that happened, there were quite a few expletives thrown out, and not in the way of I'm sad. It's I'm pissed off.
Our text chain back and forth there was not very happy.
No,
like
not at all.
So here's the thing: is I hopped on Facebook afterwards because I deleted Twitter off of my phone. I still have the account, but it just whatever. And there were so many people on Facebook. It's like, why did they kill Alex? What is going on? What is happening here? And so there were some people in there who were like, oh, well, he's a rapist or whatever. And it's like, Alcon, the Acorn, whatever the hell the network is that, or the studio is.
Yeah, Alcon.
Thank you. They claim to have done an investigation into this. You can go to Reddit. I think it's in r/expanse, or the Expanse, where they share like some messages that were leaked, and like, it seems like Kaz Anvar was kind of a creep to the ladies. But like, we never got to hear like what they found in their investigation. We have a lot of like one-sided conversations where people have deleted their responses. And I'm not at all, condoning his activity or his behavior. Let's put it that way. But at the same time, it's like, what else did they change from the season? Like, how much more Bobby should we have gotten? Because you can very clearly tell after they leave Mars is when they're like, okay, we're scaling Alex back. Mm-hmm. And in doing so, we also lost Frankie Adams for most of the season.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. The other big issue I saw was people called this season boring.
Well, and again, like, I didn't think it was boring, but was it last week or the week before last where there was a kind of like 3 episodes, like 3 weeks in a row, where it was just kind of a lull. Yeah. And even someone who I really love this season. Well, I won't say loved the season. I like this season quite a bit. There was still that three episode arc, or where it was just, they didn't do enough, and it was one of those where a part of it was like they were still on the whole Kamina Oksana thing and too much Marco. So as strong as this season started, there was an absolute lull in the center of it.
So there's a huge chunk of this this series where it's not the Expanse, it's the day players of the Expanse, where they focus on the people who are not the people we are emotionally invested in. Kara G is awesome. She is amazing as Drummer. Drummer is a great character. I do not need to see Drummer every episode. I don't need to see her crew in more than one episode in the season.
Season. That's what I was going to say. I would love to see Drummer in every episode. However, the crew that surrounded her, as much as she brought them up, it sounds kind of, like two sides. She brought them up, but they also brought the story down.
Yes. And
that's like, if it was just Drummer in certain aspects with certain other characters, like with Drummer and Ashford, I love how they did that in season 4. That was perfect. That was great how they did that.
Because they're both very good actors.
Yes.
The woman who plays Oksana was not a good actor. The woman who played Carol, not a good actor. The man who played Joseph, not a good actor.
Yeah. And
they spent too much time there.
Right. Yeah, too much time on that.
Okay, so getting Naomi, that was like a very Gravity-esque scene. And I loved that we stayed in her helmet.
Yes.
That we were, all hope is lost. Ye who enter, leave whatever it is.
Abaddon's Gate.
Yeah, right. But Naomi coming to the rescue, and then all of that. That was great. Naomi had to think about just jumping out into space this season. Luckily we don't have to deal with that anymore.
YOLO. she should have yelled that when she jumped out. I'm just kidding.
She should have yelled it in Belter though. So yeah. The hand signals, right? We have not gotten enough of the Belters talking with their hands in this series, for that to have had any impact.
Well, the first time you see that is from Havelock in one of the first episodes of season 1,
And they
where he's
dropped it
trying to learn.
immediately.
Yeah, when he's trying to learn it to so he can
Yeah.
relate better and talk better to the Belters on the
So,
station
yeah.
on series.
I mean, because like Diego, right, was the most belter that ever belted, and he did not talk with his hands.
Yeah,
he just had the big belter Creole Sasuke. Well, voila.
yeah. But I figured, I was like, she must be doing some hand signals when they.
Well, again,
because I was like, I know
because I've read the
does.
books more recently than you. I just was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I know what she's doing.
I was like, it looks a little bit like YMCA, but not really.
I'm curious, if you did not read the books and you watched this, what did you think of this season? Because I think if you didn't read the books, you may very well have loved this season. Like, loved this season.
Yeah, and I actually, on the other end, if I would have read, like if I'd have done a reread between season 4 and season 5, how would I feel differently with this season than I do now? Because again, there's certain things that like the Holden, doing his detective work, I did miss out on that.
You mean Sherlock Holden?
Yes, Sherlock Holden. I definitely missed out on that, and that was one of those things that one of the issues I had with the series is
Right.
that, because that was a big part of what Holden was doing on Tycho. And then to your point with the whole, was it Barkeith disappearing or being disintegrated?
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, it takes away. It was more of a shock value than it was, oh, that's what these ships are doing. That's what's happening to these ships.
Yeah. And again, like I said, this is one of those things where I think it's okay for us as viewers to be ahead of the characters. Sometimes the best thrillers, that's how they work out, is the reader knows who the killer is and everybody else has to catch up. It's just a different kind of storytelling, and not everybody can pull it off.
Right.
I don't think James S.A. Corey can pull that off. As much as I like their writing. So not the other problems with Ty Frannick I have withstanding.
So, oh yeah, rip tequila bottle. We forgot to mention that.
So yeah, I mean, like we haven't got to Luna yet.
Yes.
So here was the thing though, when they ran that blockade and Drummer turned on the other Belters, like again, something we know that's happening because we read the books. But I love the way they did it because it wasn't Drummer who actually saved the day. It was
Joseph.
No, it wasn't even Joseph. It was the girl who pushed Carol.
I'm drawing a blank on
her
name.
Yeah, completely drawing a blank. But anyway, and like Carol went down, like Nate Robinson went down, right? Like,
oh Lord,
she was just like out, like literally dead. And it was just like one shot to like the orbital bone that killed her. That was crazy. Yeah, as soon as she took the face mask off, it's like, this bitch is dead.
Yeah.
I thought Drummer was going to shoot her in the face. I thought that's what they were going to do.
Well, you notice when Drummer said one more word and you're dead, and I kill or I shoot you, she stops talking because she's like, yeah, she will shoot me.
She will shoot me and it will hurt. So,
yeah.
But no, getting to Luna, I think the scene. So I again, they got to Luna and Alex didn't get much of a send off, right?
Right.
It was a lot of Holden and Naomi with the letter she left him, and it was played over as we were learning more. We learned that Alex is going to get buried back on Mars with his ex is taking care of it, and he's getting like full military, honors and whatnot. Mars is a 9 planet, so how much does that really mean? But they get there and Avasarala is like, look, you are the future. You're 2 Earthers and a Belter and a Martian, and you're a family, and we want to hold you up as the example. Like that was a really cool little bit. I really enjoyed just watching them like hang out at the party.
I love that. Yeah, like when Holden's talking to Avazarala, and then he looks over and looks at that look he gives Naomi, and again Dominic Tipper is just incredible.
Chef's kiss.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I love those. Like I'm a fan of little moments like that. Again, one of my favorite scenes in the Age of Ultron is after the party, and all of them are just hanging around, shooting the shit.
It wasn't when it said the end. That was my favorite scene. No, you're right. But this is again where we missed having everyone together.
Yeah, and not having Alex in that scene it
really took away. It really did. And not giving him like the only real thing send-off he got was when Holden ran his hand over the plaque.
Dude,
which
I will say, seeing that a legitimate salvage under there
made me laugh. That's I got a good little nice. But yeah, so on Luna, Amos and Timmy, Timmy is already planning crime. And I love how Amos is just kind of listening to him because he sees the Rossi's docking and he's waiting
that
for
was
it.
Awesome. Yeah.
And it was like, you could see like, he's like, I'm almost home, but he wasn't moving anywhere. Right.
Yeah.
It's such the opposite of like what this scene normally would be. And, Wes Chatham did a great job. Dropping the whiskey bottle, a little help, and nobody looks up.
Yeah.
So, nobody looks up. It was a nice final moment between the two of them. I hope it's not the last we see of Eric.
And Hutch survived too, by the way.
Yeah, Hutch did survive. We learned that
to steal another day.
Which was good. And then well, he's got a whole thing in the next trilogy of books too, which is pretty cool with Eric, Eric the Red. But yeah, it was great. And then finally seeing them back together, and then Holden just falling right into Amos's trap. So Holden was playing Lincoln Logs, and Amos was playing like 42-dimensional chess right there.
Yeah. Like that was, and again, as much as I was upset that it, like how quickly they moved away from Alex being gone, I think this scene was purposefully put there to try to mask over that a little bit, because it's awesome. Because Amos comes, I got to talk to you, Captain Alone.
Yeah.
Remember when you said you were going to kill me? You lined up on me and all this stuff. When the Martians were coming on, because I didn't want to spend my life in a gulag. You were right. You were serious. You would have done it, right? He's like, yeah. But everything's different.
We're family.
It's like, so yeah, because you wanted to kill me now. Yeah, it's like, so no hard feelings. And I just love his like, okay. And he just hollers behind him, we're good.
Yeah. And out comes Clarissa Mao. So this is again where we miss like inner dialogue, because the inner dialogue in the book is fantastic at that scene. The other thing,
look that up,
is Jim needs to look at Amos and say, you threatened to rip my helmet off and just throw me off of the night.
Yeah. Well, technically, he didn't threaten him. He said, "I don't know what would stop me." He's like, "I don't know what. If I should rather
I don't
do
know.
this
That
or that."
sounded like a threat to me. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, look at Holden's. I remember Holden's face. He took it as a threat.
Oh yeah. But no. So this will be good. Having Clarissa with them. Her and Amos are great together.
Yeah.
So, and then the other thing that happened is during the party, Holden and Bobby are summoned away with Avazarala, and this is where we get a really cool battle, because there's a group of Martian ships along with Belter ships that are making a beeline for the Soul Gate, and I pseudo remembered reading about this part in the book, but when they just essentially dumped a bunch of sand on the Earth battleship, and it just tore it apart. They just fired what they did, and so see they didn't go into that enough. They're like, oh, it was stealth rocks. No, they took literally asteroid dust and super speed threw it at the ship from above.
Yeah,
and it just tore it to bits, because that's what happens when a mass of tiny rocks just hits your ship.
Yeah, there's no friction to slow it down.
No, none whatsoever. Which was awesome. I loved that battle. Was so cool. You know, and it ends with Bobby, you know, being shocked that part of the Martian fleet went rogue. And I like how they're like, oh, they've gone with the Naros. And we learn, no, they're going through a gate called the Laconia Gate. And if you've read the books, you obviously know what that means. And Sadovredis and Babbage are then on the ship of the Barkeith. And the way that the scene ended was great. But we got to see them talking to one of the scientists who was Cortazar, thank you. Who was on Laconia, and we get to see these strange platforms. And
and again, the only one I could remember from the books was the Magenta class. So I don't know I think there were other class starships, but that was awesome. It was like the it was like the skeleton of a whale, but in reverse. Instead of, you know, deteriorating, it's being built up.
Should I spoil what that is?
Sure.
So it's a shipbuilding platform where they build protomolecule powered ships that are badass.
Bad. I don't know if badass is even the word for these things.
They are Sam Jackson's wallet in Pulp Fiction.
That is an absolute. Yeah, that's a perfect description of those things.
I'm very excited to see that part of the series in 5 to 8 years.
Yes. Absolutely.
So, and it should, and they shouldn't even do a movie or a series. They should do a 3 movie, maybe 4 movie, like, engagement.
Dude, I don't know, man. Well, I would say yes because of the budget.
So
it just focused on a 2 to 2 hour 20-minute movie.
I don't know. Maybe they'll let them use the volume at Lucasfilm.
That would be.
They could do some pretty cool shit there.
Seeing The Expanse on the big screen
would be amazing.
Yes.
So, all right. So for the episode, out of 5 sandstorms in space, I'm gonna go with a 4.
Yeah. This is another one. I would put this. Yeah, it would be 4 as well.
And then for the season, out of disappearing Doninger class ships through a gate, out of 5, I'm gonna go with a 3.5.
I'm gonna stay with my. I'm going fractions. I'm doing 4.25. I think it's better than a 4, but not quite up to a 4.5.
Yeah.
Particularly because that 3 episode type. The 3-week lull that it had that kind of took it down, and some of the misses on the story decisions.
So I just feel like I lost too much time with my favorite character to give it any more than a 3.5. It's still a good season. That's fair. Yeah. It was better than season 4. Season 4 was not bad either.
Yes.
It was not as good as season 3. Season 2 is actually my favorite season of the show. So yeah.
Yeah.
And season 1 is great. So
yeah. I mean, again, I like every season of The Expanse, but yeah, if we have to compare them, yeah, season 4 is my least favorite season of The Expanse.
And then we gotta look at what the ending title card will look like as they go through, and it's not a gate anymore. It was Laconia in the background. So which was pretty cool.
And one thing we didn't mention when we were talking about Drummer is that Drummer and Oksana are no longer.
Oh yeah, they went their separate ways. So hopefully Oksana's ship gets blown up and we don't have to look at it anymore.
And we had mentioned that before a couple weeks ago, is that there's no repairing this.
No.
And it's funny because Drummer is the one that tried to repair it, and Oksana was the one that, because they, I guess this is important, but Surge, he dies.
Yeah, he gets spaced. That was kind of cool when Marco just kicked him out after opening the airlock and making sure he's magged in. So he gave him the sin treatment.
Yeah, and this is one of those I kind of like how when you were talking about. I like the amount of time Marco got in this one. It wasn't too much. It was. I think it was just enough.
He was so menacing in this episode.
Yeah. Oh man, where she said we've sent 3 tight beams, and he was like, "Say that again." But it was a much more menacing tone.
And again, when he's like, "You have your gate, you have your system, we have our system." When Set of Ready says, "You know, we're going to go through, and then the mines are going to be activated on our side of the gate," and he's like, "Oh, great, we don't want anything to do with you. Beat it."
Yeah. Oh, and again, we got the mention of the man behind it all. Admiral Duarte.
Yep, Duarte. I'm excited to watch them strap the railgun to the little moon that Holden used to open all the gates next season.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, that's not next season. That's far away. No, that is.
That I think that is next season.
No, it's not, because no, Bobby's involved with it, but it's later.
Oh yeah. So. Okay. It's so funny how when you say something and then the scene plays off in my head.
I just gotta say, the way Roberta Draper goes out in the books, if they don't do her that way in the show and show us that, I'm gonna be really sad, because she goes out like a boss.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So, all right. Oh yeah, sorry.
All right. No, that's it.
Yeah, I think. Thank you, Amazon Prime, for giving us this show and making it as good as you did. We definitely will continue watching. I'm almost done listening to the first book again. So, but after that, I'm going to take a break, and I'm going to listen to the Matthew McConaughey book that you want me to listen to.
About time.
I know. Then I'm going to listen to 1984 again.
That's the one I think I'm going to half price tomorrow. So.
It's on Audible. It's free on Audible.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, anywho, that and Animal Farm, both free on Audible if you guys want to read 2 really good books. Not even sponsored by us. Anywho, all right. So I'll be back next week. Daryl may be back next week. I don't know. He's going to Disney World again. He's apparently in love with Disney World. He's half
it's
mouse.
A magical place.
He's half mouse at this point. But so it's either gonna be both of us, and we won't be reviewing WandaVision at all, or it'll be me with a special guest reviewing WandaVision, and then Daryl and I will come back and do the commentary when he gets back from Orlando. So cool. Anything else to add, sir?
No, it's just is it 2022 yet? I'm waiting for season 6 already.
Yeah, right. Is it Tuesday, some random Tuesday in 2022 yet? So, oh yeah. Hey, Amazon, thank you for putting it out on Tuesdays, even though you said the show comes out on Wednesday. I actually really enjoy that. So, and keep doing that with The Boys.
Yes.
Because watching The Boys on Thursday night was great too.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. So yeah, keep doing that, people.
Please, sirs. Please give us more of what we want. I don't know what that was.
I don't either. So I wasn't going to say anything.
Just ignore it. But yeah, so on that note, we will see you guys, one of us, next week. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube. Thanks to Matt and Julianne for backing us on Patreon. Hopefully more of you join them so you can get more of the WandaVision commentaries. We've got 4 to go after this week. And yeah, so, if there's something you want us to review, a show that you want us to dig into, email us at contact@infamouspodcast.com, because we're looking for what's next. On that note, see you later.
See ya.
The Infamous Podcast is recorded in Kings Mills, Ohio, just north of Cincinnati. You can find new episodes every Sunday on Apple Podcast, YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcast, our website, or anywhere podcasts are downloaded. This show is hosted by Daryl Jasper and me, Brian Tudor. To find more information about the show, visit us at infamouspodcast.com and follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Infamous Podcast to keep up with the show. We also have a Patreon page, patreon.com/infamouspodcast. We have some great rewards for our patrons and are looking for help to grow the show to bring you more of the content you want to hear. Music for this podcast is provided by Michael Henry from meetmichaelhenry.com. So, whenever you're listening to us, have a great day, night, evening, weekend, whenever it is, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening.